2020 జేఈఈ మెయిన్ ఫలితాలలో ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ విద్యార్థుల ప్రభంజనం. ఆల్ ఇండియా అన్ని కేటగిరీస్లు 18, 35, 251, 253, 582, 606, 778, 780, 812, 821, 1031, 1039, 1303, 1575, 1654, 1753, 1754, 1978 ర్యాంకులే కాక మరెన్నో ఉత్తమ ఫలితాలు సాధించిన విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్. ఈ
Now, so who is the scientist? According to Christian Graham, bacteria is classified into how many categories? 2 categories. What are the 2 categories? Bacteria classified into 2 categories. Right? According to Christian Graham, bacteria is classified into 2 categories. What are they? We call them gram positive bacteria and other category is called as gram negative bacteria. So we have 2 categories. What are they? Gram positive bacteria and other one is called as gram negative bacteria. Now it's all he observed the difference between 2 bacteria. It's all because of the nature of cell wall. So it is observed that in the gram positive bacteria it is observed that cell wall contains teichoic acid. That means teichoic acid is present. Where there is a difference in the nature of cell wall. Here in gram positive bacteria it is observed that cell wall contains the particular component, a chemical which is named it as teichoic acid. So cell wall contains teichoic acid in case of gram positive bacteria, whereas in gram negative bacteria teichoic acid in the cell wall is absent. Teichoic acid is absent. Very, very important. So here teichoic acid is absent, here teichoic acid is present. Teichoic acid is very, very important. This makes very clear difference that because of teichoic acid present in the cell wall, this particular bacteria has ability to absorb crystal violet dye and they stained with purple color, violet color. As some other bacteria, as the lack of teichoic acid in the cell wall, they could not able to take the stain called crystal violet stain and they appeared colorless. Later coating with safranin made them to appear pink in color. So here there is a difference in nature of cell wall. Here cell wall contains teichoic acid, here in the cell wall teichoic acid is absent. Then apart from this, if you look at cell wall is made up of the components like peptidoglycans. So peptidoglycans percentage when he looked at it is nearly 50 to 53% or 58, let us take 58. Peptidoglycans exist in the person called 50 to 58% appeared in the cell wall of gram positive because cell wall is made up of peptidoglycans. So here cell wall generally is studied in Monera. Characteristic of Monera, prokaryotes, generally the cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan or mucopeptide, we studied, right? So here cell wall is made up of peptidoglycans but the percentage of peptidoglycans is higher in case of gram positive bacteria, whereas here it is only 0 to 3%. So what is the percentage of peptidoglycans in case of gram negative bacteria? They contain only 0 to 3%. Or you can take, this is lipids ma, better you take lipids, this is only up to 30% in case of a gram negative bacteria. 50% in case of gram positive bacteria, what percentage of peptidoglycans, whereas it is only 30% in case of gram negative bacteria. So cell wall is made up of not only peptidoglycans and also it's made up of lipids. And also it's made up of lipids. But if you look at the composition of the lipids, it's only 0 to 3%. Actually I wrote 0 to 3% for gram negative. No, it's 0 to 3%, it's a lipid percentage, you have to remember. Okay, so for gram positive bacteria, they contain more amount of peptidoglycans, up to 58%, and very less amount of lipids, that's only 0 to 3%. Right. Now coming to gram negative bacteria, here they contain lipids. They contain lipids up to 60%. So here they contain more amount of lipids, less amount of peptidoglycans. That's why gram negative bacteria could not able to take up crystal violet junction, whereas gram positive bacteria has more percentage of peptidoglycans, that is 50 to 58%, and very less quantity of 0 to 3% of lipids in the cell wall. That makes them to absorb crystal violet, and here less of peptidoglycans, more of lipids could not able to make them to absorb crystal violet, but made them to absorb another strain called safranin. Okay, so if you look at safranin here, sorry, excuse me, yeah. So if you look at the safranin could able to react with lipids because lipids exist in more quantity. So pinkish color appears when gram negative stained with safranin, whereas this are easily stained with junction crystal violet that made them to appear purple in color or violet in color. So what is the difference here? Gram positive bacteria appears dark blue, or we say purple in color, or we say violet color. So whenever if you go to the lab and if when you observe under the microscope, you can see if they appear in purple and violet, you have to identify them as gram positive bacteria. And some bacteria after the stain, if they appear pink in color, then such type of bacteria you have to remember them, identify them as a gram negative bacteria. So Christian Gram is a scientist who divided bacteria into two categories based on gram staining. On what basis here? Based on the process called gram staining. Based on gram staining, he could able to see the variations in the nature of the cell wall and made called some bacteria as gram positive and called some bacteria as gram negative. So gram positive bacteria in which cell wall contains teichoic acid is present, and whereas teichoic acid is absent in case of gram negative bacteria. Cell wall is made up of two components, peptidoglycans and lipids, but gram positive bacteria contain more amount of peptidoglycans, that is 50 to 58%, and very trace quantity of lipids, that is 0 to 3%. Coming to gram negative bacteria, they contain less peptidoglycans and more amount of lipids up to 60%. Because of this, they show variations in the cell wall and in absorbing the stain, right. So we have to remember gram positive and gram negative bacteria. Let us continue further. Now, you know it very well. Bacteria, if you look at, we have some node points. So, just make down as important points, we have a possibility of getting the questions. So, on these points, mostly we have chance of getting the questions. Now, some bacteria exhibit the condition called as pleomorphic bacteria, or we call pleomorphism. They exhibit the condition called as what? Pleomorphism. What is pleomorphism? Meaning they are called pleomorphic bacteria. They are called as what? Pleomorphic bacteria. What's the meaning of pleomorphic bacteria? So let us write definition for this. Not all bacteria, some bacteria has ability, or some bacteria change their shape according to the surrounding environment. According to the surrounding environment. According to the surrounding environment. Some bacteria, they have ability to change their shape according to the surrounding environment. Such type of bacteria are called pleomorphic bacteria, and the concept is called pleomorphism. So here let us take some examples for this. Let us take examples. Examples are very, very important. So let us take example Acetobacter, and other one what we are going to study on the syllabus is very, very important, that is Mycoplasma. What is that? Mycoplasma. One is Acetobacter, other one is Mycoplasma. So when you take Acetobacter and Mycoplasma, what is the meaning and definition of this? So for example, if this Acetobacter and Mycoplasma both are called pleomorphic bacteria because they exhibit pleomorphism. What is pleomorphism? Suppose if they are having some gliding surface. Maybe initially they are rod shaped bacteria. Rod shaped bacteria are called what? Bacilli. Rod shaped bacteria are called bacilli. But when it is gliding on the surface here, suddenly it has moved into a rough surface, then immediately it becomes spirilla. It changes its shape into spirilla like this. Okay. So the bacilli is a rod shaped bacteria. It changes its shape into what? It changes its shape into spirilla because of uneven surface. This is uneven surface. Because of this uneven surface, the rod shaped bacteria changed its shape into spirilla. It became spiral shape. So easy to glide on the uneven surface. After that, again it got some smooth surface with the curved surface. Then itself it became into something like cocci. So here the bacteria has ability to change its shape. From one form to other form as per the condition of the environment. So I repeat, what is pleomorphism? Some bacteria have the ability change their shape. Some bacteria change their shape according to the surrounding environment. The bacteria is moving. Let us imagine it's in rod shape. We call that as bacilli. Now it has entered into uneven surface. It is unable to move with the rod shape. It changes its shape into spirilla. It becomes spiral shaped bacteria called spirillum. After crossing uneven surface with the help of flagella, again it got some curved surface. It immediately changes into cocci. So bacteria has ability to change its shape. Itself is called pleomorphism. Such type of bacteria are called as pleomorphic bacteria. What are the examples? Acetobacter and Mycoplasma. Most of the times we get questions in the final NEET about mycoplasma. Very, very important. Along with mycoplasma, important example even Astrobacter also you have to remember. Mycoplasma is very, very important. We will have a question compulsorily on the example called mycoplasma, because we have lot more to discuss about mycoplasma in the same bacteria concept. We will get for the next class, we will discuss mycoplasma. Mycoplasma has whatever we discuss, all points are important. On any one of the point, definitely we have the chance of getting the question in the final NEET. Try to remember that mycoplasma has the concept called pleomorphism, pleomorphic bacteria. Now this is one thing which we have to remember under note points, and another one is exist in the form of chain of filament, or you can write some bacteria exist in the form of exhibit or some bacteria arranged in, better I am just trying to give you easy and convenient statement for you to remember, are arranged in chain of filaments, or we can write they show thread-like arrangement, So some bacteria, if you look at their arrangement based upon the structure, some bacteria are arranged in chain of filaments, or they appeared in a thread-like arrangement. You can take such type of example, Begiota. You can take example Begiota. Okay, so pleomorphic bacteria. Some bacteria changes the shape according to the surrounding. They are called pleomorphic bacteria. They exhibit the concept called pleomorphism, Astrobacter, mycoplasma. And some bacteria are arranged in chain of filaments. They look like thread-like arrangement. So remember the example called as Begiota. So these three examples are very, very important for all of you to remember. So here the three examples which you have to remember, mostly you will get it in the form of a questions. Okay, so here what is Begiota here if you look at, so when you study this bacteria, so if you look at, for example, mycoplasma, if you look at, mycoplasma itself is also called as joker of the plant kingdom. Itself is also called as joker of the plant kingdom. So for the next concept, when we continue our discussion with the mycoplasma, at that time I may question you that why mycoplasma it's called joker of the plant kingdom. Try to remember, this is very, very important. Generally it is called joker of the plant kingdom. Why it is called joker of the plant kingdom? Mycoplasma causes the disease called mycoplasmal urethritis. In case of human beings, it's a pneumonia infection. It also causes pneumonia. So when people try to trace out what type of disease is caused by mycoplasma, what type of disease is caused by, and what is the type of organism, one time it looks like bacilli. When they take the sample, a blood sample or urine sample, one time it looks like bacilli. After some time again, when they have chosen other person suffering with the same symptoms, from them when they have taken the sample it appeared like a spirillum, and after 2 days once again they have taken the sample from the same two persons, so it appeared like cocci. So they could not able to trace out whether the bacteria is in bacilli or it is in spiral or in cocci. Because when sample is taken today morning, it appeared bacilli. Tomorrow morning, it appeared the infection causing organism. What is that when they have taken the sample once again? Whether it got reduced or increased number, it appeared as spirillum. And next day morning again when they have taken the sample, it appeared like cocci. So they could not able to trace out what is this, whether the infection is caused by bacilli or infection is caused by spirillum or infection is caused by cocci. And what is this bacteria? They could not able to identify the bacteria for many days or many centuries together, because one time it exhibits one shape, it exhibits different shapes. One time when you see it appears bacilli, next time when you see it appears cocci. Because of different shapes, it took long time for the people, even though the disease symptoms are same, but they could not able to trace out the bacteria. And after they traced out bacteria, they have given the name called Mycoplasma. That itself it's called as joker of the plant kingdom. Why it's called joker of the plant kingdom? One time it looks in one shape, other time it looks in other shape. So it made the people to confuse a lot, and took many centuries time to identify and give the name as Mycoplasma. Okay, because when you go for lab detection, when you go for blood checking, so one time when it is given to lab technician, he says that it is bacilli, and immediately by evening once again sample collected after the applying antibiotic dose, the same lab technician he will say it's spirillum, right. So it has made the people to become fools. That's why it's called as what? A joker of the plant kingdom. So here one more difference I just want to give. Gram positive bacteria and gram negative bacteria. Here they show gram positive bacteria, they show resistance to antibiotics. They show resistance to antibiotics, whereas gram negative bacteria, they does not effective. Antibiotics are not effective to antibiotics. Not effective to application of antibiotics. This is very important difference even between gram positive and gram negative. Gram positive, they show resistance to antibiotic and they respond to antibiotics, they are effective to antibiotics, whereas gram negative bacteria, they are not effective to antibiotics, meaning even if you apply antibiotic, they cannot be killed. Okay, so this is also difference between antibiotic application between gram positive and gram negative bacteria. So here in biological classification, now let us discuss about, we were discussing about eubacteria. Now when we take the eubacteria here, eubacteria are generally called as what? True bacteria. Now in eubacteria, what are the things we discussed? Classification of bacteria based upon nutrition we discussed, classification of bacteria based on structure we discussed, and along with that even we discussed about the classification of bacteria based upon staining process we discussed, that into gram positive and gram negative, right. And even we have discussed about different types of bacteria, like we have taken the cell wall nature, gram positive bacteria as well as gram negative bacteria. So when we take the classification of bacteria based on nutrition, and we have discussed some of the characteristics of Monera, we have discussed some of the characteristics of eubacteria now, right. So let us continue further. So you know, classification of bacteria has made photoautotrophs, chemoautotrophs, photoheterotrophs, chemoheterotrophs. Similarly, based on classification based on structure, we discussed them into bacilli, cocci, spirali, vibrio, right. Classification of bacteria based on cell wall, if you take gram positive bacteria, gram negative bacteria. Now in eubacteria, let us talk about the process of reproduction in bacteria. So reproduction in bacteria. So before we discuss about the process of reproduction in bacteria, before that, you know that eubacteria are itself are called as true bacteria. Itself are called as true bacteria. So after we discuss classifications, now let us take little introduction part, then we will go to reproduction in bacteria. So here if you look at bacteria, first time when you look at little more introduction, first time Anton von Leeuwenhoek. Okay, we will discuss little introduction, then we will come back to the concept called as reproduction in bacteria. Let us discuss about the scientist Anton von Leeuwenhoek. You know, he is the first person who studied and introduced what is called as a first light microscope. He designed and constructed the first light microscope. He is the first person who constructed the first light microscope. With the help of this, he saw and proved the world that yes, they are invisible microorganisms. They are invisible microorganisms exist in nature, and he found on the surface of animals which he called them as animalcules. He found some of the microorganisms on the surface of the animal, right? He found some of the microorganisms on the surface of the animal which he called them as animalcules, which are nothing but invisible microorganisms. And when the moment he said invisible microorganisms exist in nature, by the time world does not know anything about technology and microorganisms, then surrounding world asked him, show where are these invisible microorganisms? Then he said they are invisible. Then at that time people thought him as is a mad person who is speaking something is invisible, and he is calling them as animalcules. Later, to prove that they are invisible microorganisms exist in nature, necessity makes inventions, right? So he constructed and designed first light microscope, which works with the help of lens. By absorbing light under low power lens, he could able to detect the animalcules. So what are the first invisible microorganisms which he observed and identified? They are nothing but, today we call them as bacteria, and what he observed at that time, today we call them, some of them are called protozoa, some of them are bacteria, and some of them like even RBC cells which he observed under constructed light microscope. So invisible microorganisms, first time the living cells, invisible living cells are identified with the help of, invisible living cells are identified for the first time Anton van Leeuwenhoek. So first living cell who identified means, for this question the answer is Anton van Leeuwenhoek. Invisible living cells were identified, what are called bacteria, protozoa, as well as what are called as RBC cells. Okay. So when we take as they found on the surface of animals, they are called as animalcules. So Anton van Leeuwenhoek, he first identified what is called first light microscope, and the first living cells which are invisible, which he observed under light microscope. He did not give the term called bacteria, and he did not give the term called protozoa. Today we know them as bacteria and protozoa. Out of the organisms what he identified with the help of microscope, some are what we identified are bacteria, some he identified are protozoa, and also he identified RBC cells, but he has not given the names as bacteria and protozoans. These are the first living cells identified by Anton van Leeuwenhoek, as he called them as what? Animalcules. That is why Anton van Leeuwenhoek, who is called as father of microbiology, is called as father of microbiology. Anton van Leeuwenhoek is called as father of microbiology because he is the first person who identified first time the occurrence of microorganisms, and he designed light microscope to prove the world yes, microorganisms exist in the world. Okay, that's about Anton van Leeuwenhoek. Later, and we need to talk about little more introduction about Louis Pasteur. Yes, Louis Pasteur studied well about, of course you know that he introduced and discovered rabies vaccine, you know it very well. He is the one who studied about the process called as fermentation, right? He is the one who developed the technique called preservation of milk by pasteurization. This is what they have developed. right? Rabies vaccine, fermentation, pasteurization. Apart from that, Louis Pasteur also studied and observed about bacteria, and he said that bacteria are the sources of industries in future. Bacteria serves as an important sources of industries in future. Who has given the statement? It was with the effort of Louis Pasteur. So Louis Pasteur, he introduced what is called rabies vaccine, fermentation, pasteurization, and already before to his, of course, the bacteria term. Who introduced and who has given the bacteria term? The term bacteria term was coined by, the scientist Ehrenberg. It was coined by the scientist Ehrenberg. Bacteria term was given by, for the most commonly everywhere what you find is nothing but bacteria. When Anton von Leeuwenhoek holding the light microscope, when he tried to see everywhere what occurs is nothing but bacteria. But the name bacteria was introduced by the scientist, who is the Ehrenberg. Bacteria term was coined by Ehrenberg. When bacteria term was given, later Louis Pasteur studied about the importance of bacteria, and is given important statement and done research on different types of bacteria, studied more on bacteria by Louis Pasteur after the term is being introduced, and he said bacteria are going to be important sources of industries in future. What did he refer? Bacteria are going to be important sources of industries in near future. In near future, bacteria are going to be very, very important sources for most of the processes which occur in industries, right? In industries, bacteria are going to be very, very important sources for most of the processes. So that means in every process, whatever it's going to take place in industries in future, for them bacteria is going to play very, very important vital role. That statement is being given, and the importance of bacteria was notified and noticed by the scientist Louis Pasteur. Okay, so the bacteria term was being coined by Ehrenberg. Now, so here, as because he has done great extensive work on the uses of bacteria, Louis Pasteur is called as a father of bacteriology. He is referred as a father of bacteriology. So whenever you get the question that who is the father of bacteriology means Louis Pasteur. Who is the father of microbiology means Anton von Leeuwenhoek. Later, let us talk about Robert Koch, another scientist. Robert Koch. Now Robert Koch is a scientist. He observed pathogenic nature of bacteria. He observed pathogenic nature of bacteria. That means, you know, some of the bacteria are very much useful, but some bacteria identified by Robert Koch, he identified them as pathogens, means they cause diseases and they are harmful in nature, and that nature of harmful nature of bacteria, disease causing nature of bacteria was identified by Robert Koch. So what he has given, it's called as Koch postulates. What he has given, they are called as Koch postulates. Okay, so here what he has given. Now what is pathogen? He referred pathogen as a disease causing organism. Disease causing organism is called as pathogen. Disease causing organism, Robert Koch referred a disease causing organism as pathogen. some of the bacteria, they have pathogenic nature, means some bacteria are responsible for causing the diseases. So, the pathogenic nature was observed by Robert Koch, and he has given some rules and regulations which are called as rules to see whether bacteria is pathogen or not, and how to stop that pathogenic nature of bacteria, and how to maintain hygienic conditions. In invisible bacteria can grow in what you call contaminated water, it found in contaminated surfaces, polluted surfaces. So, he has given certain precautions to take care of to avoid the growth of pathogenic bacteria, and they are called as Koch postulates. They are called as what? Koch postulates. They are called as what? Koch postulates. Robert Koch combined his work with Louis Pasteur, and both of them together they coordinated. Robert Koch coordinated his work with the Louis Pasteur. Together they have given what are called Koch postulates. What is nothing but Koch postulates? Certain principles, certain precautions to avoid the bacteria contamination with which if the bacteria are pathogenic in nature. So, Koch postulates, and also he has given germ theory of pathogens. He has given what is called germ theory of bacteria or germ theory of pathogens, or we call germ theory of microorganisms. What he called them? Germ theory of microorganisms. What is meant by Koch postulates? Postulates means certain rules, certain precautionary measures to be taken to avoid the spread of pathogenic bacteria from one place to other place. The precautionary rules are nothing but Koch postulates. And Robert Koch combined his research with Louis Pasteur, and he developed what is called germ theory of pathogens or germ theory of microorganisms. This theory explains about germs. Germs are nothing but what? Microorganisms. Here the theory explains that how germs just move from one place to other place, how they move, how they get contaminate the sources, right, and where do you find mostly the germs, and what are the reasons for the growth of the germs, how germs will multiply in number in short time. Everything was given in germ theory of microorganisms, that comes under Robert Koch in coordination with Louis Pasteur. Now, let us continue further here. Now, in this bacteria, let us continue about reproduction. Reproduction in bacteria. Generally, if you talk about the reproduction process in bacteria, eubacteria exist everywhere in the environment. Eubacteria are called as true bacteria. Now, when you take the reproduction process in case of bacteria, when you look at this particular part, generally we say true reproduction is absent in case of bacteria. So, we generally say true sexual reproduction is absent. True sexual reproduction is absent. True sexual reproduction means what? Fusion, formation of gametes, fusion of gametes. True sexual reproduction is absent in case of true bacteria. Then what is present? What is true sexual reproduction meaning? So, here the formation of the gametes, fusion of gametes is totally absent, right? But even though true sexual reproduction is absent, make a note of this important point. The point is very, very important. True sexual reproduction is absent in case of bacteria, but there is a exchange of genetic material, but there is a exchange of genetic material, but there is exchange of genetic material between two bacteria. True sexual reproduction is absent, meaning true sexual reproduction meaning formation of gametes, fusion of gametes is totally absent, but there is an exchange of genetic material between two bacteria, that is by three methods. What are the three methods we say? Conjugation, transformation and transduction. What we are discussing here, true sexual reproduction is absent, but some amount of genetic material exchange happens between two bacteria that occurs by three methods: conjugation, transformation, transduction. Now these three methods will come under sexual reproduction, but actually not the true sexual reproduction. There is only exchange of genetic material. Now coming to reproduction, we have two processes. One is called as asexual reproduction and other one is called as sexual reproduction. One we call asexual reproduction, other one is called as sexual reproduction. Now if you look at reproduction, if you take asexual reproduction, if you look at this, let us discuss about asexual reproduction. Later we will go for discussion about sexual reproduction. So when you take asexual reproduction, here most commonly bacteria divides by binary fission. Bacteria divides by most commonly by binary fission. I think for last class we studied that during unfavorable conditions, spore formation. I think we studied very clearly, right? During favorable environment, whenever conditions are favorable, during favorable environment, this is environment. During favorable environment, bacteria most commonly divides by binary fission. Right, during unfavorable environment, what happens? Bacteria leads to formation of the spore, right? So I think we have studied that last class. So let us write very clearly: during unfavorable environment, bacteria forms endospore. Bacteria forms endospores. So what is the difference here? During favorable environment, bacteria divides by binary fission. During unfavorable environment, bacteria forms the endospore. So I think for the last few classes we studied endospore means it forms some 4 to 5 layers surrounding. You know that exospore, spore wall and cortical cell, cortical layer and all that, right? Exosporium, endosporium and all that. Generally endospore formation, outermost layer produces dipicolinic acid, we have discussed. So during unfavorable environment, bacteria forms endospore, protects it. During favorable condition, most commonly bacteria divides by the process called as binary fission. Binary fission makes one bacteria to divide and form the two cells. So asexually, most commonly bacteria divides by binary fission. Now if you like the Petri plate, this is a culture plate. When you take culture plate itself is nothing but we call Petri plate. Petri plate or culture plate. Inside of this we add nutrients. When we add nutrients to this culture plate, all the nutrients will be at the base of the culture plate, and we add a culture, small droplet of microorganisms. So maybe the droplet having maybe 1 or 2 or 3, 4 microorganisms are called bacteria. Now when wait for some time, half an hour or 1 hour, maybe we have introduced only 2-3 a culture of bacteria, but after half an hour, 1 hour, you can see hundreds and thousands of microorganisms growing in the Petri plate or in the culture media. So many microorganisms. If the nutrients are available, if sufficient number of nutrients are available and maintains favorable environmental conditions. What are the favorable environmental conditions for the growth of bacteria? Favorable environmental conditions. If you maintain in the surrounding environment like sufficient light and sufficient pH, sufficient temperature, right? If you maintain sufficient light, pH, temperature, humidity, that is moisture content, and sufficient amount of the nutrients are present in the Petri plate, then that makes the multiplication of bacteria, that is called doubling of bacteria, and by they undergo binary fission, that is called multiplication of bacteria. So here 1 bacteria will become 2 bacteria will become 4, like that they multiply and divide by the process called binary fission. In short span of time you can find hundreds, thousands and what you call lakhs and million number of bacteria growing in the same culture media if they have sufficient amount of nutrients and in the surrounding if you maintain favorable environmental conditions. That's called duplication of bacteria, duplication or multiplication of bacteria. What is meant by duplication or multiplication? Doubling of bacteria number, because bacteria during favorable conditions they divide by the process called as binary fission. So here light, pH, temperature, humidity conditions are favorable, bacteria grow in their number, they multiply and they undergo what is called binary fission. So bacteria divides by binary fission. We will see what is binary fission, which comes under asexual reproduction. Most commonly in bacteria what we find asexual reproduction.
ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి, జేఈఈ అయినా, నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.